What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another amazingly awesome episode of the world's greatest fitness podcast, the Make Fit Happen podcast. I am your co-host, Jupe, the loyal scientist today, Boardman, and joining me, as always, is the number one co-host that's ever been on the face of the planet, Amanda. I want one Tochen Kim. What's going on, Miss Amanda Kim? How art thou on this glorious day of the sun?
You do that accent so well.
I want one mujer. I sleep with one
I
wife.
want and one wife give one pee touch.
Okay. Hey, Lily. Don't Mess with the
Dude.
Zohan is one of my most favorite Adam Sandler movies ever.
Same. I love that movie. It's such a good movie. So underrated.
Yeah, I think that's my number. Also, I'm just gonna point out that Adam Sandler is probably one of he's the most loyal human being on the planet, because he's like the perfect example of like, if I'm eating, my boys are eating. Because and I used to think it was like something dumb. I was like, I guess he can't cast anybody else, is what I used to think. But the reality is that every time he makes a movie, he has all of his boys in it somehow, just because he's like, oh yeah, we're crew, and I want everyone to get paid. And I fucking love that about him.
That's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah. If you think about it, like I used to, and think about any Adam Sandler movie or any Happy Madison production. It's got Adam Sandler and the dude from Deuce Bigelow and all those guys. And like I said, at first I was always thinking like it's maybe it's because he can't cast anybody else. Nobody wants to be in his movies, is what I used to always think when I was younger. And then I realized that it's because he wants to take care of his crew and his friends. So and no matter what, they're going to be in his movies. And I was like, that's the definition of like me and the boys, like taking care of my crew. And I just love that shit.
That's the definition of bros before hoes.
That's the definition of bros before hoes right there. Yes, it is. Without a doubt.
Because why, Jupe? Because these hoes ain't loyal.
Hoes ain't loyal. Except for you, babe. Love you. Okay. Yeah.
It was well played. Well played.
Yeah, except for you, babe. Love you. No, we just me and Miss Caitlin Ann just celebrated our 1-year anniversary recently.
Oh, congratulations.
I know. We're like all cute and in love and shit, and it's magical, and
give it 3 more years and then you're gonna be like, fuck you.
Yeah. Watch out, babe. Watch out, babe. You got 3 more years of the magic, and then after that it's all downhill from there.
It's all downhill for them. I'm just kidding.
Just kidding. Okay. Today's episode, you guys, we're going to talk about overcoming plateaus and some things you can do when you get a plateau. So basically, you're stuck. You're not seeing results. You're stuck at the same weight. You're lifting the same weight. You're not experiencing any kind of change in your power, in your strength, in your size, in your weight, whatever it is. You're stuck. We're going to talk about how to get over that. And Amanda's going to go over what's the fancy schmancy term for a plateau.
All right. So what is a plateau is what it starts with, right? So when you hit a stagnation point in weight loss or gain, and when you are unable to make improvements in your exercise routine, this can cause frustration and can cause some people to quit or fall off the wagon. So I don't know about you, Jude, but I'm sure you've had clients that have definitely hit this point when you are trying to coach them.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And we'll be working through what the biggest one is, like I think weight loss plateaus are probably the most frustrating. In my opinion, sometimes strength plateaus can, but like a strength plateau typically, whenever my clients get stuck, it's usually something outside of my programming. Like, for example, I have one of my clients right now that's they're doing a lot of travel nursing, and it's difficult for them to be consistent on their nutrition and on their training because they're always in the car driving, like at least twice a week, right? So I don't know about you, but whenever I do a big long road trip, my performance suffers in the gym just because you're sitting in a car for hours and you're definitely did not eat appropriately, you didn't hydrate appropriately, all that kind of stuff. But in my opinion, I think weight loss plateaus are the hardest.
I think they are, because I think so many people, like when you're in a weight loss plateau and you're trying to lose weight and like you're hungry all the time and you're tired all the time and like you're just you don't have as much energy as when you're either at maintenance or in a surplus. It's mentally, I think, more draining. So I think during a weight loss plateau, during the first few weeks of losing weight, a rapid drop is normal. In part, this is because when you cut calories, the body gets needed energy initially by releasing its stores of glycogen. So that's the type of carbohydrate that's stored in your muscle and your liver. Um, and glycogen is made of mostly water. So, like anytime you bring in carbohydrates into the body, you are bringing in water.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, for example, when you cook something like rice, the amount of water to rice ratio is like 4-1 or 3-1.
Hold on. Time out.
Hold the phone.
Hold on. Miss Kim, I need to hear a rice making secret because that's never how I've ever cooked rice before.
Dude, do you not have a rice cooker?
I do. I do 2 cups of water and 1 cup of rice.
Oh, no. So, if you want sticky rice, you do 3 cups of water. I did 4. 3 cups of water, 1 cup of rice.
What?
If you want the rice to be fluffier and bigger and more volume, yeah.
My life is a lie.
Your life is a lie. Don't ever listen to the package. Listen to the Asian.
That's what I was saying. Like, let me in on some Asian rice secrets right now. You do the little finger knuckle trick. I'm sure that's what you do. So
Put the one finger, the first knuckle, first tip.
Oh my god, I saw Eric today, by the way, and I don't know what's gotten into him, but so Eric is our friend from our previous jobs, and he's Vietnamese and he's adopted. So he's so ever since he's a teeny tiny itty bitty baby, he's only known American culture, but he is 100% Vietnamese. So I saw him today, and he was trying to scan something for me, and I almost died because he was scanning something. He's like, "Hi, yeah, it's not scanning."
Uncle Roger's
like,
so upset.
That's his new thing is, "Hi, yeah."
Hiya.
Oh my god. Okay. Anyway, I
That's
just want to let you know
fantastic.
that he's doing great, and that's his new favorite thing. Okay, weight loss
That's amazing.
plateaus.
All right,
All the
so
water.
like we were saying, glycogen is partly made of water. So when glycogen is burned for energy, it releases water, resulting in weight loss that's mostly water. This effect is temporary, however. So when you're overweight and you start to exercise and get into a healthy routine, you will lose weight pretty rapidly initially. And then you hit a point, and I want to say it's anywhere for some people for week 6 to 12, depending on how large you are. Like week 6 to 12 is when you kind of hit your first plateau in weight loss. So as you lose weight, you do lose some muscle mass along with the fat. Muscle helps keep the rate at which you burn calories, so your metabolism elevated. So as you lose weight, your metabolism actually declines, causing you to burn fewer calories than you did when you were at a heavier weight. So your slower metabolism will slow your weight loss, even if you eat the same number of calories that helped you lose weight. When the calories you burn equal the calories you eat, you reach a plateau. So basically, as you lose weight, you are inevitably going to lose some muscle mass, and that is why your metabolism, like we've said in previous podcasts, your body's always trying to get back to homeostasis. So to counteract the fact that you are losing weight, your body will try to expend less energy to meet you.
Gotcha.
Right. So like when it starts to do that and starts to meet that homeostasis is when you kind of get that standstill where you can't lose weight anymore. And some trainers will tell you that this is not a real thing, and they're just uneducated, to be honest. Like
wait. What will they tell you that's not a real thing? I'm lost.
So they'll try to tell you that you're hitting a plateau because you're not following the plan, or you're eating too much, or
You're not actually measuring your food.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. And I understand why they think that way, because majority of clients do that. They'll tell you they're doing something, or they'll tell you they're tracking 100%, and they're actually not. So like I understand why that is the initial thought process of some trainers, but if you have an educational background, and one, if you've ever taken thermodynamics in any type of chemistry class, you should know that this is a real thing.
Right.
Like there is a point where like you can expend equal amount of energy that you're taking in which case that is considered homeostasis. And your body is that smart that it is always trying to get back to there. It doesn't want to change that much.
Yeah.
So you can have a client that is following everything 100% and they will reach a stall point at some point and you do need to make a change. It's not that you should diet for freaking 24 weeks at the same calories and expect, oh, that's how I'm going to lose 100 pounds automatically.
Right. No, that makes total sense. Yeah, your body wants to stay comfortable.
Yeah.
I had this thing today that your body wants to be comfortable, and then like the podcast that I was listening to was just talking about how it was talking about anxiety mostly, but it just said like, for example, like your brain, which will tie into your body, does not want to doesn't want your life to be butterflies and rainbows, right? It wants to be safe,
Yeah.
period, which is what your body is going to do. It's going to make your body wants to be comfortable and safe, period. That's it.
Yeah. So when you hit a plateau, really the first thing you need to do is you either need to increase your physical activity or you need to decrease the calories you eat. Using the same approach that worked initially may maintain your weight at this point, but you will have a hard time to continue to lose weight at the same rate.
Yeah, it's a simple like math equation at that point.
Yeah, it is. I will say weight loss and weight gain in general is more than just calories in versus calories out. That is a huge portion of it, but there are other factors that can lead to a plateau.
Mhm.
So like lack of recovery, lack of
yeah.
sleep, that kind of stuff.
Let's make sure that we touch base on this real quick because I just heard you say that it's more than calories in, calories out. When someone tells you what we mean by that is this: calories in, calories out is going to be your number one most important piece. There's no
Right.
magical bullshit thing that's going to replace caloric deficit.
Right.
That's what we mean real quick. Just to reiterate that caloric deficit is the way to lose weight.
Yes.
Okay.
What I was talking about is there are other factors that can hinder your weight loss if you are in a calorie deficit. So, because they can put your hormones basically out of whack. So, for example, if you are not getting enough sleep, it increases the stress in your body. So, it increases cortisol levels. The tendency of cortisol is to basically hold on to as much fat in your body as it can, and usually increases ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone. So, what happens is most people that were in a calorie deficit who are not getting enough sleep, they will end up overeating at some point because the hunger overrides their willpower.
Yep. Boom. There you go. Just as an FYI, I just wanted to make sure y'all kept on to that. So, what else can we do to break through? So I'm stuck. I'm not losing any more weight. What can I do? And let's say that I'm sticking to my macros within the 90% accuracy rating, right? 95% accuracy rating. I'm consistent on my training. I'm consistent on everything. Like, what can I do to break through this plateau? I'm stuck. What can I do to get out of it?
Right. So I would say first thing is you need to assess your habits. Make sure that you're actually tracking all your food and your activity levels accurately. Make sure you haven't loosened your rules around your diet or your exercise to the point where you're like, for example, if you've always tracked everything you eat and then all of a sudden you stop tracking how much coffee creamer you put in your coffee or how much butter you're putting in with your cooking, all those little calories can add up if you do that every single day for a week. So, and that could be the reason you're not losing weight anymore is you're actually not eating in a deficit.
In my case, it's how many packs of fruit snacks you're having.
Motherfucker, who said you're eating fruit snacks?
I love my fruit snacks. Well, all I'm saying is Welch's fruit snacks are king. And if anyone has anything to say about it, come fight me.
You and Matt are the same. Like he loves I like chocolate when it comes to candy. Matt is all about gummies and like sugary stuff. Like he loves fruit snacks. Freaking loves if you've ever had the Skittles or the Starburst gummies. He loves them. Freaking amazing. And he will eat them in like one sitting, no problem. I bought him a whole bag of Starburst gummies and Skittles gummies, and he ate both bags in less than an hour.
Yeah. They're yummy.
It's amazing.
Gummies are magical.
I wish I could eat, 400 carbs of sugar like that and not die, but that's not me.
Yeah. And he was an hour. So keep track of how many gummies you're eating.
Right.
So,
And the reason we say this is research has suggested that off and on loosening of rules contributes to plateaus. So, like, if the less consistent you are, the more likely it is that you are going to hit a plateau. And it's not really a plateau at that point, it's that you have fallen off the wagon and you are not on track anymore. The first step that you then can make is to cut some calories.
okay.
So further cut your daily calories, provided this doesn't put you below 1,200 calories. Fewer than 1,200 calories a day may not be enough to keep you from constant hunger, which increases your risk of overeating. Not only that, most people, their basal metabolic rate is higher than 1,200 calories. So at that point, you're not giving yourself enough calories to even function and have your organs function, have hormones be produced in the correct amount. So that's why you really, like, most people should not eat less than 1,200 calories.
Yep, exactly.
It's highly suspect.
Period. And if you have a coach that tells you to do that, fire them.
Yeah. Unless there's one exception to this. Unless you are actually a bodybuilder, there may be the week before the show where you eat less than 1,200 calories, but it is not sustained, is what I should add in there. So, like, if you have a coach that tells you to eat 1,200 calories for more than a month or more than like a couple weeks, I would say, then fire them.
Fire. All right. So let's say that we're good on calories. We're within 90% of our tracking, and we're still just stuck. What are some other tricks that we can do to fix our plateau?
So the next thing you can do is rev up your workout. And what I mean is most people should exercise 30 minutes a day, nearly every day of the week. But people trying to lose weight should exercise more often than that or increase the intensity of the exercise they're doing to burn more calories. Adding exercises such as weightlifting to increase your muscle mass will help you burn more calories. So if you're not lifting weights, you should incorporate it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be large changes. I think when people think you have to increase the intensity of your workout, you have to overhaul your entire workout. That's not what I'm saying. Like, increase in intensity could be as little as you're doing 20 minutes of cardio 3 times a week. Bump that up to 25 minutes of cardio 3 times a week. You're doing 1 to 2 minute rests in between sets. Lower that down to 45-second rest. It will make simple, really small changes will make your exercise and your workouts more intense.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be like huge changes.
Gotcha. No, that makes total sense for sure. I know that changing up. So, well, hold on. I'm not going to get into that yet. We're going to go into that in the next part of our workout plateaus because that's the thing that I'm going to talk about. Anyway, okay, great. So we've got a little bit more stuff in the gym. Is there anything else that we can do to help break through that weight loss plateau?
So the other things that you can do is, we've talked about this before, which is NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So that's the amount of calories you burn doing very like mundane tasks. So taking the dog for a walk, vacuuming, doing laundry, doing dishes. All those little things are part of NEAT. So they're not really considered exercise. They're not a scheduled set workout, but they're still activities that burn more calories than sitting. So for that reason, you could increase your NEAT activity. And the best way to increase that is just go for a walk. Like, go for a 10 to 15 minute walk when normally you wouldn't.
Gotcha.
And something as simple as that will increase the amount of NEAT, so the amount of calories you burn not exercising. And then the last thing you could try is a nutrition strategy. So, for example, if you eat the same amount of calories every single day for your weight loss journey, and then you hit a plateau, what you could try is a low carb diet. You could try carb cycling. You could try what's the other one I'm looking at? You could try refeed days. Like, you could try different strategies to see if that kickstarts it for you to lose weight again. Something as small as that could even trigger weight loss again.
Gotcha. Awesome. We love the bodies. The bodies are amazing. I think it's super interesting how doing something as small as a refeed can just, bam, trigger something in your body that's just like, oh, okay, cool, we're good. And then just immediately spark something. Is there any kind of, I'm kind of throwing you a curveball here. Is there any kind of like scientific study as to why that happens?
There was a very new one that was published this year, and unfortunately, I just don't remember the name of it. But before that, there were 2 published much earlier. So there was one published in 2003, and then there was another one published in 2011, 2012. The first two studies were actually looking at um, the reason that they were adding refeed days is they thought it would make people gain weight. So they
Mm-hmm.
were using that as one of the controls. And basically, those two studies showed that their study failed because the people that they added refeed, uh, well, one was a refeed and one was a diet break. I should clarify.
Okay.
So what they found is basically the people that did the refeed and the diet break actually lost the same amount of weight as the people that either consistently ate calories or sometimes they even lost more weight while
Hmm.
maintaining more muscle mass.
Interesting.
So the difference between the two is a refeed day is usually a day where you increase calories for like the weekend, for
Mm-hmm.
example. So, for example, let's say you've eaten 1,500 calories throughout the entire week, and then you bump up your Saturday and Sunday to 2,000 calories each. That would be considered refeed days.
Mm-hmm.
A diet break is where you go at least 2 to 4 weeks of eating consistently in calorie deficit, and then you take 2 weeks where you eat at maintenance.
Mm.
And then you go back down 2 to 4 weeks where you eat in a deficit, and then 2 weeks where you eat at maintenance. That is called a diet break compared to a refeed day.
Mm-hmm.
The study done in 2021 actually was looking at because the other two studies I forgot to add were only in obese individuals.
Okay.
So someone wanted to look at, well, how would this affect someone that's actually like in decent shape? So someone that works out consistently, someone
Right.
that is not obese, would this be a better weight loss tool for them? And basically what they found was no, they don't lose more weight using those techniques. They lose about the same amount of weight. However, what they did find was higher adherence to the diet because they got those little breaks.
Was it the refeed days that they found was better, or was it the break, or was it the same
So the
for
refeed and the
adherence?
break were better adherence than just sticking to the same amount of calories in a deficit for long
Right.
periods of time. The only difference is like the refeed and the diet break, you do have to diet for longer. So instead
Mm-hmm.
of like a 12-week cut, for example, you'd go 24 weeks, but you're incorporating high calorie days.
Mm-hmm.
So they found it was better adherence, and they did find that you still maintain more muscle mass
Hmm.
compared to someone that was in a deficit for 12 weeks consistently.
Wow.
Mhm.
Science.
So it's pretty cool.
Super interesting. All right. Next thing that we're going to be going over, you guys. So let's say that we're talking to somebody that's not necessarily focused on weight loss, weight gain. We're talking about performance in the gym. We're talking about I'm stuck. I haven't seen any gains. I haven't gotten any stronger. Next thing we're talking about is how to break through plateaus in your workouts. So, what would be an example of I'm stuck in a plateau for my workout, Miss Amanda?
Right. So the first one we mentioned is we also mentioned it. You can use it for weight loss, which is you can increase the intensity of your training. So, for example, if you've been doing 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps, you could decrease 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps with heavier weight.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, the right weight for your training level should be challenging, but not undermine your form.
Mm-hmm.
If you're able to maintain proper form, but start to struggle by the end of a set, the weight is pretty spot on.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you could increase it with weight, or you could increase it with a different technique. So like drop sets, trisets, stagger sets.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Partial reps, like things like that, where you alter either the movement or you alter how much rest is in between, can increase the intensity of any exercise
Hmm.
besides just adding more weight
Right.
or trying to go heavier. Basically, I think going heavier is just easier for people conceptually to do because it's very linear and it makes sense to them. I think most people don't think about the other techniques that you could use, like drop sets or partial sets or myo reps, things like that are super effective for increasing intensity in your workouts. Like, for example, in my workouts right now, I incorporate myo reps, which basically, let's say I'm doing a floor press with dumbbells. I will do a set of 12, rest for like 5-10 seconds, try to pump out 2 more reps, rest for like 5 to 10 seconds, try to pump out 2 more reps
Mm.
until I get to like 20 reps. That's considered a myo set.
Gotcha. I love that. I love that. I
Yeah.
think I've had those referred to as forced reps as well.
Yeah.
But that's super awesome. I love doing those for sure. Myself personally, I found that changing up the tempo of your of whatever you're doing will also make a big difference. So, for example, I recently busted through a massive plateau with my power that I just felt like I wasn't powerful. And that's one thing that I'm really working on right now is explosiveness. So working on my punches being stronger, the ability to throw people, all that kind of stuff. So what I've really started to do is like I'm working on anytime I'm doing anything with my triceps, I'm always doing a negative. So I'll do like on the extensions, I'll do like a 2 second. So let's say I'm doing a rope extension, right? I got all the way out to full extension, and I'll do like a 2 second negative. Which before, and then I would do as powerfully as I could to explode out. Same thing with my shoulders. So today I did standing military press with some dumbbells. So I would sit with the dumbbells at the lowest position possible for like a second, and then I would explode up. 2 second negative, sit for a second, just to really feel that weight, and really working on pushing the weight as fast as I possibly can. So that's one of the things that has broken me through my plateau.
Yeah, definitely for sure. So increasing training intensity is definitely
Mm-hmm.
number one to start with. The next thing you can do is vary your exercise routine. So you'd be surprised how quickly your muscles adapt to a
Mm-hmm.
specific exercise. While varying the intensity of an exercise can help overcome a plateau, varying your exercise routine is just as important.
Mm-hmm.
So, according to research, varied exercises involving the quadriceps translated to increase of between 11.6% to 12.2% in muscle mass, while constant exercise achieved gains of as little as 9.3%.
Mm.
So varying your exercise could be anything from like, let's say every leg day, your accessory lifts are leg curls, leg extension, and calf raises. And you have
If
done that
if
for
if that's your accessory movement, you a basic bitch. I'm just gonna say it. That those are basic bitch exercises. Okay. There's so many other things that can work so much better for you.
Oh
And in
man.
my opinion, if yet is your programmed, if every single day for 12 weeks, also that's fucking, those are such boring exercises.
They're very boring. I will agree.
Ugh. Okay, go ahead. I'm
Um
sorry. I'm off my soapbox now.
Damn, I put Jupe on his soapbox
Dude,
again. Uh
there's just so many things you could do that are so much that stimulate so many other things that are that are so much better correlated to like okay. So with my training style, my goal is to have people perform better at life. Okay. When I have a client who's in a program, my goal is to have them be able to do life better. So playing with their kids, playing their sport, being able to perform better at work, whatever it is. I want them to be able to do life better because I'm training them. And leg extensions and leg curls, show me where you're doing that in real life. Maybe kicking a soccer ball. Maybe.
yeah. I would
Right?
agree.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, please. Like, show me what doing a hamstring curl. Show me where that directly correlates to real life.
No, I agree.
Right?
Like there are a lot of isolation movements, and they're not. You can do compound movements even for your exercise for your accessory work. Excuse me.
That's what I'm
So
saying. That's what I
yeah,
would prefer.
you could do a stiff leg deadlift. You could do hip thrusts with a barbell. You could do Bulgarian split
You
squats.
can
You could
do
do
goblet
walking.
squats.
You can do goblet squats,
Ugh.
walking lunges. There's a ton of different variations. You could do kettlebell work, like kettlebell swings. Probably the most underutilized exercise, but is great for explosive hip
Yeah,
movement.
let me
So
tell you, I am a fucking obsessed with my kettlebell stuff recently. I did one recently, actually today. It was called a what do they call it? I call it a banded kettlebell swing is what I would call it, but they called it an overspeed kettlebell swing, which is where you have one of the really long bands attached to the handle and you stand on it, and then when you swing, the goal is to get the kettlebell directly above your head, almost in a pressing motion. And when the band's connected to it, obviously it's adding resistance to it. So they called it an overspeed kettlebell swing. I would call it a banded kettlebell swing, but that applies to so much shit in life.
it's funny how you say that, and that's weird for both those names because I If you put a kettlebell over your head in a swing, it's called an American, by the
Right,
way.
correct.
So
Yeah, American
it,
versus Russian.
but I would agree with you. It's to me, it's a banded kettlebell swing.
Right? They called it an
Yeah.
over speed kettlebell or over. Let me get things. Anyway, don't be a basic bitch and do only leg curls and leg extensions for your
Oh
leg
yeah.
accessory movements.
Don't do
Okay,
that.
we're back.
Don't
I'm
do that.
focused now. I apologize. I'm back. We're good.
The other things you can do is you can change the order of your exercises. So, for example, if
Mm,
you always start with a compound lift, you could do a pre-exhaust, is what a lot of people call it. Where let's say you do lunges first thing, and then you go into your big squat workout.
yep. That'll make
See
a
how
huge difference.
Yeah, it'll make a huge difference. You're not as fresh. You're trying to squat big heavy weight, and you're like, oh shit, this is much heavier than I thought it would be.
Yes, always.
So, simple changing of the order can help kind of break through plateaus when it comes to workouts, kind
Hmm.
of humble you again.
Yep, without a doubt, 100%. Don't always go into your heaviest. Um, don't always go into your heaviest workout fresh. Sometimes it's good to get a little pre-exhaust in.
Yeah. You could stop exercise if you've outgrown. So, what do we mean by that?
Hmm.
There may be exercises in your routine that you've outgrown or have become redundant as you've expanded your workout. So, for example, if you've been doing toe raises to build your calves, the growth potential in that is limited, even with weights. So, to reignite muscle growth, you would be better served to do toe presses on a leg press, where you can
Mm.
add more weight and basically put more tension and time under tension on the calf muscle itself.
Yeah, that makes total
So,
sense.
or for example, if you've done Smith machine squats your entire life, maybe time to step up to the big boy barbell and do a. I fucking hate the Smith machine.
Really? I think
I think it
there's
teaches people improper form. That's what bothers me.
okay.
Because most people that get taught to squat on a Smith machine, they so like when you're on a Smith machine, it's straight up and down, right?
Hmm.
So you have to put your legs forward
Yeah.
in front of you and then
Hmm.
push your butt back and squat down. So your back is very straight. So like let's say you ever want to get into powerlifting and you want to do a low bar squat, like you're gonna be like,
I don't
what the
think you
fuck
can
is
even
this?
do that on a Smith machine, can you?
No, you can't. I've tried and it's
Hmm.
impossible.
So here's a counter argument. I think that if you I think the Smith machine definitely has quite a few applications that are really good. For example, if you're a bodybuilder and you're really trying to target a very specific portion of your chest, let's say, I think a Smith machine is great for targeting something very, very specific. But I think that if you're learning on a Smith machine, I think that's going to cause a whole bunch of issues.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the Smith machine can be used for different things. Like I've used the Smith machine for floor presses,
Yeah, that's a
be-
good one.
because it keeps you straight up and down, which is what you want.
Yep.
Because the only thing you're changing is you're tucking your elbows in more to get more tricep engagement than chest when you do a floor press.
Right.
But but I would agree if you're trying to learn a new exercise on a Smith machine, besides I don't want to even say bench press because you're actually when you're benching, you're not supposed to go straight forward. You're actually supposed to form a J,
Yep.
but most people don't know that.
Right.
Um, so I just don't think it's great. I agree with you for learning new
Mhm.
exercises and for doing them correctly.
Maybe
Maybe an overhead press.
overhead press, straight leg
Yeah.
deadlift.
Yeah. Those two
That's it.
are probably the only
That's
ones.
it.
But then people try to come up with these crazy exercises, like they try to turn the Smith machine into a freaking leg press, and then I get scared every single time that they're gonna
Hate
die.
it. The vertical leg press.
Yes, because you're laying on your back and your
Yep.
feet are here,
Yep.
and you freaking the Smith machine's here.
Yep.
It's gonna fall on your face.
Yeah. Don't do that. Just squat. Just squat.
Just squat. I
Just
don't
squat,
understand.
guys. Don't do the vertical leg press. It's scary as shit.
It is.
It's very scary.
Or just ask your gym to buy an actual vertical leg press machine. They do make those.
Yeah, they do. They're magical.
Yeah.
All right, we're done. We're no more exercising. Or we're past the baby shit. We changed all kinds of orders. Like, what else can I do to get out of my training funk?
So I think the other thing that we kind of touched on actually our last podcast when Stephen, also with a PH, was on, and he was talking about rest and how important sleep is. So getting rest is very underrated and it's super important
Yep.
because if you don't get enough sleep, everything kind of goes to shit. Your muscles, he was right, your muscles don't grow when you're working out, they grow when you're resting. So if you train too hard for too long, you will undoubtedly hit a plateau. It is
Yep.
almost guaranteed. And I know that blows some people's mind, but there's only so much you can push before your body's like, yeah, I need a break.
Yep.
I need some time to myself. I need a spa day. Like that's how your body's feeling right now.
Correct. And I'll be honest, guys. I am probably the most guilty of doing this. Probably
Oh, I do it.
out of anybody. I used to get to the point where I would train twice a day. Every day I'm hitting multiple body parts. Like I would say I would work through every single body part of my body within 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Because I'm just training so hard and I'm loving it. I'm killing it in the gym. Blah blah blah. And then just one day. I'm like, nope, not moving. I think that was my yesterday, to be honest, because I think we went to bed at I think I fell asleep at like 10:30. I think I
Mhm.
slept for like 12 or 15, like 12 hours last
And
night,
that
which is a
happens
lot, which is a lot for me. Normally I sleep like 7.5 to 8.
Yeah, and that happens to me. Like I work 8 to 5, and honestly there's so much stuff that I do outside of work. Like work is just a necessity for me so I can make money.
Right.
But to me, like I do so much more stuff outside of work that I thoroughly enjoy and that like give me my life breath, I guess you could say.
Yep.
So like I do dog training, I do our podcast. It takes me time to edit and do all that for our audio. We're actually recently going to start a YouTube channel for our podcast.
Heard it
This
here
will be the
first.
first this will be the first episode that has video. I
Oh,
actually still have our intro video episode, so I'll probably put that up too.
oh, hell yeah.
But this will be the first episode that has video to it. I go to dog training like 4 times a week, sometimes 5.
Mhm.
Like, and sometimes I don't get home till midnight and I still get up at like 4:30 and go work out.
Yep.
Like sometimes that happens and sometimes I'll do that days in a row and I'm like Jupe, it will hit Saturday or Sunday and I just crash and I'll sleep for like 12 or 15 hours and I'll be like, no, that's fine. I'm rejuvenated now.
Exactly. So it's okay. I heard recently there was um I heard from a friend that they felt super guilty about sleeping in so long and they're seeing a counselor. The counselor was like, sleep, like as long as it's not hindering your life, like to where you're using that as a crutch, your
Hmm.
body will tell you how much it needs to sleep. Your
Yeah.
body does not want to just stay sleeping all the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
You
Oh,
know, your
yeah.
body wants to be in motion. Your body wants to do things. So if you need to sleep for, let's say one day you're just dead beat tired and you sleep for 18 hours, that's what your body needed.
Yeah. And even when I try to sleep in, to be honest, because I get up so early, sleeping in for me is like 7:30 a.m.
Whew.
I'll still get up.
Slacker.
I know, seriously. I went to bed at like 10:30 last night and I got up at just past 7:30. But
Wow.
that is 9 hours. So,
Yeah. And so, even on the weekends, I normally wake up pretty early, but not today. Today I slept in until like 10:30, 11:30, something like that. So, whew.
nailed it. So, sleep is super important. Um Adequate rest and west. Wow.
You're hunting rabbits.
Hunting rabbits. Adequate rest and recovery are essential for growth. If you have fallen into a rut, physically or emotionally, take a few days off and recharge your batteries.
Boom. Super important. And then there's one more that we're gonna go over here. We got all the sleep. There's one more thing left to do for recovery, and what is that?
So that is take a look at your eating habits and improve your nutrition. So we harp on nutrition all the time. You can't outwork a bad diet. You can't eat well for 5 days in a week and freaking splurge like crazy on the weekends and expect accurate adequate recovery and weight loss. Like it's not going to work. So, proper nutrition will help your muscles grow and fuel your workouts. If you don't get the carbohydrates, protein, fats, and nutrients you need, you could very well undermine your training efforts no matter how hard you work.
Yeah,
So,
without a doubt.
biggest thing, can't outwork a bad diet.
No, you definitely not. I would say, what about any supplements? We didn't make any notes on this, but are there any supplements that stick out to you to help with recovery?
I would say For me personally, I've always tried to use food as like the best way to fuel what I'm doing.
Mhm.
However, this may be a placebo effect for me, but I have taken BCAAs in the past when my training gets more intense, and
Mhm.
I have noticed it does help me recover a little bit better. Like I'm just not as sore. I don't feel as fatigued. So personally, BCAAs do help me. Like when I'm probably 6 weeks out from my powerlifting competition, I will
Mm.
incorporate BCAAs every single day.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it has to do with the fact that I just am drinking more water because I mix it with water and therefore I'm more hydrated. I don't know if it has to do with that or if it actually does anything. I just know I just feel the difference, so I take it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that one way to break through a plateau and to help you out with recovery, I would say probably creatine would probably be a good thing to have in your
Yeah.
supplement line as well. Creatine is extremely well researched, probably the most researched supplement on the planet, and from my to my knowledge, there's zero negative side effects of creatine.
Yeah, there really is no negative side effects. When you initially start taking creatine, because it does pull, it's like carbohydrates, it pulls more
Hmm.
water into your system, which is a good thing. It helps with hydration. But you may notice a slight uptick in your weight. And I'm not talking a lot, I'm talking like half a pound or a pound.
Mm,
Like not a whole lot of weight, but it's water.
right.
But once you get used, like if you start taking creatine consistently, you won't get that effect. It's just that initial when you start taking it. And I would say there's really no backing to creatine loading, is what some people do,
Hmm.
where they take the recommended dosage is 5 grams. Some people will take 10 or 15 grams for like 3 days in a row, and that's called creatine loading. And they think
Hmm.
that somehow helps their recovery and helps them push in the workout. There's no research to back that up. Like
Gotcha.
taking more creatine is not necessarily going to have a increased benefit to you.
Hmm.
But I put 5 grams of creatine in my pre workout, like before every workout I have.
Yeah, I take shout out to MTS. I take MTS creatine. It's flavorless, honestly. So like, I'm not a big fan of like throwing down powders and water that are unflavored. I don't taste any difference in the creatine. I think the creatine monohydrate or the creatine that MTS puts out is magical because you can literally put it in anything and you'll have no idea it's in there.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is what I like. So that's what I do
Yeah,
for my creatine. So I would say throw some creatine in there if you're feeling super duper stuck. Yeah.
yeah. I would say those are the biggest things to try to break through your plateaus. I know this is a subject that a lot of people struggle with is how do I break through a plateau once I've hit it? And I think so many people jump to the extreme of how to break through a plateau is they either cut their calories drastically, they
Hmm.
start doing freaking hours of cardio a day, and you'll see initial weight loss. But the biggest thing you have to remember is, let's say you're someone listening to this and you have a large amount of weight to lose, you're gonna hit more than one plateau.
Yep.
And at that point, if you are eating less than 1,200 calories and you're already working out, weightlifting for an hour and doing an hour of cardio a day, where do you go from there?
Nowhere. That's it.
Exactly. Like, where do you go from there? So that's why some people, like, I know when I've had clients, some of them found it really odd that I made such little changes
Hmm.
to their habits, to their food, to their workouts. And the reason I did that is because I want you to have somewhere to go if you do hit a plateau
Yeah.
and not feel like you're dying, basically.
Exactly.
Weight loss doesn't have to be difficult all the time. Really, your weight loss is the most difficult in that 10 to 15 pounds before your goal weight.
Yep.
That's when it gets the most difficult. That's when you should start to feel I'm hungry all the time, I'm tired all the time, I'm exhausted all the time. You will feel that way in that last 10 to 15 pounds. But let's say you're trying to lose 100 pounds, like 100 to down to that last 10 or 15 pounds should not be that difficult. And I think people have this misconception that that's why weight loss is so hard is because you have to make such drastic changes and basically you have no life and you have no fun and you hate everything. And it's really not that way. It doesn't have to be that way.
Mm-mm. It is
And
not
I
that
think
way.
and I think like one of the biggest reasons why we created Make Fit Happen and like why we do our podcast is to really break these misconceptions that people have that everything has to be hard. Like it doesn't have to be hard, but you do have to make those little adjustments and those little changes if you really want to see progress. And it's just the consistency over time. That's really what it is. Like I posted my pull-ups on Facebook today, and like I would say my back's pretty jacked. Like
Yeah.
that's the one
Yeah.
muscle group I have. I have like no body fat, and like
Yeah.
I carry a lot of muscle. Like
Yeah. Yeah. You got a pretty stacked backside.
and like, but I wasn't always that way. Like I used to be 100 pounds overweight. Do you think it looked like that 10 years ago? No.
No. I think that the what people get hung up on, and this literally came to my brain right whenever you said this, was people think it's hard. And it's not that it's hard, it's that it's different, which I think that's what makes people think it's hard. Like it's still like you're not doing anything different, like insanely more difficult than what you're doing now. What
Right.
it is that you're just changing a couple of small, like changing a couple of things over time is what's going to make the difference. Like you're still going to consume food, duh, right? It's just choosing something a little bit different than what you would normally eat.
Yeah.
You
The
know?
hardest thing is being consistent and doing this for months and years at a time.
Yep.
That's the hardest thing. And as soon as you accept the fact that that's how it's going to be, like you can move forward and create a plan and realize that it doesn't have to be an end goal, right? It's the journey. And
Yep.
like that's something that we've preached all the time is like it's all about the journey. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the weight, once you lose the weight, that's really not the end goal because at that point you've lost the weight. But what people really struggle with is like, how do you maintain from there?
Yep.
So then you have to learn how to maintain. And like, let's say you maintain for a while, but like you still don't like the way you look. So now you want to have more shape. So how do I gain muscle now? You know, it's a continuous cycle of like, there's just a new goal that you're going for. And some of them aren't big or as large as your 100-pound weight loss goal.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are much smaller, but it never stops. And I think
Never.
that's what people have a hard time with.
Yeah, it's not a I'm going to do this until. It's a
Right.
this is my new normal.
Yes, exactly.
Boom.
And I think it's just that's my little rant.
I love it. Hell yeah. I think that's a really good spot for us to conclude on right there.
Yeah.
That it's your new normal. It's not I'm doing this until this is my new normal. Without a doubt. So that's how you're gonna break all your plateaus, folks. Go back, rewind, listen to all this stuff. Next on the next episode, you guys, we're gonna be talking about metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome, which is fucking metabolism shit. More metabolism shit. We've been on metabolism recently, and I love it. We have, which is it's super duper important. And I'm super excited for the next one. I have no idea. I don't know shit about metabolic syndrome, so I'm bringing in fucking pen and pad, and I'm learning all kinds of shit the next episode. But thank you guys so much for tuning in for this episode. Until next time, y'all. Love, peace, and protein.
Peace.